Okie dokie. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of Woodley Town Council's Leisure Services Committee, held today on Tuesday, the 2nd of June. Woodley Town Council meetings are now recorded with recording streamed live and stored on the Council's YouTube channel. By virtue of attending the meeting, you consent to having your image and audio recorded for this purpose. If you do not wish to have your image or audio to be recorded, please do not stay for the meeting. For those in attendance, we are not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if you hear the fire alarm, please head to the nearest fire exit and congregate at the fire assembly point at the front of the Oakwood Centre in Woodford Park. Thank you. Right, first meeting of the municipal year. So the first item is for appointment of chairman and deputy chairman for the year. Do we have any nominations for chairman?
Yeah, I nominate Councillor Smith.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. And do we have any other nominations? No. Can we take a vote on that, please?
It's 5-4, everyone.
That's great. In Councillor Smith's absence, we'll move on to the appointment of deputy chairman for the year. Do we have any nominations for the position of deputy?
I'll second that.
And do we have any other nominations? No. And can we take a vote on that, please?
4-4. No vote. No vote. That's fair.
No, that's fine.
Don't need to do it. So.
That's fine.
In which case, I will hand over to Councillor Firmage.
Okay. Excuse me a second. Oh, it's rather nice here, isn't it? Don't often get this one.
Wait a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Right, we've done item 1. Item 2, apologies. Oh, thank you.
Yes, we have apologies from Councillor Jewell.
Right, okay. And obviously Councillor Smith as well, because he's on mayoral's duties.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's why.
Oh, okay. Then
And that's why he's got a pretty good excuse.
That's
that one,
fine.
I think. Yeah, yeah. He did say he unfortunately couldn't do
Oh,
it tonight.
yes, of course. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Yeah,
stepping into his shoes for
yeah.
this evening. Right, okay. Any declarations of interest? Right, okay. Item 4, minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of April, and these are actually in the full council pack anyhow, so
Yeah, agreed.
don't there's anything really, unless somebody's got a point of clarification or anything. Right, okay. And then item 5, page 3, follow-ups.
No, Chairman, don't we?
Yeah, just to note, Chairman, if
Just
there's
to
any
note.
questions.
No, anyone got any questions on those? No? Oh, it's going to be a quick meeting. I'll put the mockers on it now, it won't be. Yeah. Item 6, budgetary control, page 4. And that's just a note, but does anyone have any questions or points of clarification or anything on that?
The RFO for his comprehensive report.
We'll pass that on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to know. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Mike. Item number 7, leisure services update, page 9. Well, that's the note as well, but I'll leave that.
Thank you
to go
very
through.
much. Good evening, everybody. So this report is a little bit different from my previous reports. If you remember in the last meeting, I presented to you basically the first kind of workings of the leisure management system and the impact that it had up at the leisure centre. And I mentioned within that meeting that we didn't really have much data to work from because the system had only been in place for a short period. I've now been able to spend a bit more time kind of looking at some of the kind of data that the system can produce. And what I've tried to do within this report is pull some of that together in a bit of a simple way to kind of show you how it's being used, really, to kind of I don't want to say justify the money that the council spent on the system, but really to kind of point towards how people are now interacting with the leisure centre and how they're making bookings. And hopefully I've done that through this. So as I mentioned in that first paragraph there, it's been operational for nearly 2 months. It's 2 months now. And it has resulted in some really significant change to how we're working at the leisure centre. There's less reliance on staff now, which has meant that the staff that are on site can focus on other things rather than answering the phone and taking bookings. And really the system has almost become a member of staff in that way, and that it handles a lot of that for us. On the other side, we've therefore had to learn how to deal with more technical problems. So with an IT system, of course, we're still learning how it works, but ultimately if things go wrong with somebody's phone or somebody's computer at home, we're now having to talk to people over the phone about those things instead. So, but we are getting pretty good at that now. If you look at the second section, the online booking data analysis, what I've tried to do here is just to show you really how popular it's been. So looking at those bullets there, adult bookings for leisure activities in April was just over £10,000, and of that 91.69% of that was generated through online services. And online services refers to anything whereby the person wasn't present when they booked. So if they booked via the app or the website, it's all included within that, basically.
Are they able to book in by phone still or personally?
Yeah, absolutely.
They can, right.
So front of house, or FOH, as I now have to call it all the time, includes any booking made over the phone or in person, because some people still like to do that too. So in relation to the income, it's been paid through via the till, so cash or cheque, or via the card machine at reception. Some people do choose to pay over the phone as well, if they don't like paying online. We still do that too. That's, as you can see, not quite as popular, but it is still being used.
Okay. Before I give it over to Mike, I just got one quick question actually. You sort of said the mobile app has proved a popular alternative to the website. Just kind of what sort of feedback you've particularly been having from the public on this, because obviously that's quite a useful benchmark.
It is, yeah. So generally speaking, the feedback we've had in person about the mobile app is that it's more user friendly. What that means is there's less clicks to get booked in for something than there is via the website. It's more of a, like most apps are designed to tap once or twice to get booked in, and similarly to cancel something. So it's a lot quicker to do. The website has a few more stages to go through. So you have to log in, for example, to start with, whereas the app saves your login details. You have to click through what you want. There's not as much colour on the screen. It's I suppose a bit more detailed than the app, whereas the app's very pretty and user-friendly, looks nice. It's, I suppose, how most people interact with most things now. That's the kind of feedback we're getting in person, but there's no difference either way, so people can still choose. It's totally up to them how they want to book.
Whichever way they feel comfortable with. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Mike.
Thank you, Chairman.
And then David.
Can we just ask, is it possible to get a comparison between the system we have in place now and last year? Can we say that the actual online system is proving so popular the income has gone up?
So something we're currently working on, actually. Yes. One of the limitations of the old system is that it was very manual. So we've got guys at the moment physically adding previous bookings together and adding all those numbers together. As time goes by, of course, we'll be able to compare one year to another year. Early indications are, from using some of our exercise classes, is the income is up across all of them. However, of course, that does include a price increase. So we're currently counting number of bookings and income. We'll compare them both, and I'm hoping to be able to bring that to the next one.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Do we have an age breakdown on those online figures?
So I can break down pretty much everything to a pretty low level. I've got lots of reports now running all of the time, so they get auto-generated and emailed through to me. As an example, I get a monthly report now of percentage of attendance to exercise classes, each individual one. So if I was taking a Tai Chi class, for example, I can see how many people booked in a month, what the capacity of that was, the percentage of spaces that were filled, how many people were on the waiting list, how many people got booked from the waiting list, the income from the class. I could narrow it down to a specific day in the year, or I could be a bit more broad and go across the whole year. So with time, because it takes time to generate the reports, and I'm still learning that, if I'm perfectly honest, I can pretty much generate any report that this committee wants. And that kind of was the purpose of this report today, is to show you that actually I can go away and pull figures and put together data in a way that you guys want to see, that you think would be helpful. And if you have any specific requests, I can take them away.
I mean, I'm thinking that with this, we know it's operating, but there are many other things we're doing as a council that we don't know. We always get the constant backlash that people of certain age groups aren't computer.
Yeah, that's very true.
Literally. If we could have an age breakdown, it would give us an indication of what sort of percentage of the older age group, and I'm including you and I, are computer literate.
Yeah. So a couple of interesting things about that, actually. That was one of the things I was hoping to do, but when people sign up, they put their own age in, and some people haven't done it correctly. Now that affects the data slightly. But the other thing I found actually was when I ran a report specific to the app, the most popular thing booked through the app was our over 50 Silver Circuits class. So more older people are using the app than the website, which I thought was quite surprising actually. But I could definitely go away and run reports like
We
that.
underestimate actually.
We do, yeah.
the
It's a
intelligence
bit of
some older
in a way, it's a bit of a
people.
stereotype.
They've usually got
Really.
grandchildren who can help them round, but things don't go right. So.
But it would be interesting to.
Anything like that, I can definitely go away and pull together. So if it's something that you'd like to see in the next meeting or ongoing or every time we meet, I can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But those two charts there, as you can probably see, suggest that the online system is being used relatively heavily, and really it's been a success. And it also gives you guys an idea about how many phone calls we were previously dealing with. So if you think about that, what was it, near enough 4,000 bookings, I think it was in April. That's not including cancellations as well, and all of those were often dealt with via phone call. That was how many phone calls just specific to bookings our staff were dealing with.
So how many phone calls have you had since?
I haven't been monitoring because I haven't needed to, to be honest with you. But it's been reduced. So now our phone calls are general inquiries. So what do you do, or how much is this, or is the paddling pool opens a current popular one? And of course we're still manning the phones and answering like normal, but the staff are getting a lot more time to just actually manage what's happening on the ground rather than being sat in the back answering the phone. So
Well, the reason I asked that, I was on the Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee last night, and they were talking about the health app. Well, there are lots of people who've got the apps. They don't use them because they don't know what they're doing. So there's not, it's all very well having an app if it's easy, and yours obviously is much easier than the health one. But
well, one of the things we did when we first launched it actually was we made sure that we always had staff on the phone that could talk to people about their online booking. And we still do it now, we do it all the time. So the guys have been trained in how to help people over the phone, which is quite difficult at first because you can't see what the person you're helping is seeing. And then we've arranged one-to-ones with people, so they come in, sit with us in the office, we spend 10 minutes helping them get set up, show them what to do, and if it breaks next week they can come in again. So we're always still there. We haven't just shut down the phones and the in-person services, we're still offering them. And some people still like booking in person, and that's fine. It doesn't make any difference to us anymore because it's the volume of it is reduced so much. So
Sorry.
no, carry on. Yeah.
No. Have you got some more to say?
I was just going to flip over to the next page, but if you've got any more questions.
Well, Danny just put his hand up. So
Just a quick question on the feedback. Is it collected to the app or online? Have you got good feedback on it? So
As you can imagine, significant change, lots of opinions, lots of good feedback, lots of bad feedback, lots of suggestions. With any change, that's what we've always had with anything we've done. Now that things have calmed down, the general feedback that I'm getting just from talking to people, and it's not recorded in any kind of way at the moment, is that the app's really user-friendly and they like having it. It's easier to book, quicker and simpler. Some people don't like the booking opening time, so we set that as 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Some people don't like getting up at 7 a.m. to book, and that's okay. The reason we did that is because the centre opens at 7:30, so it's impossible for staff to have to deal with people coming to the door at 7:30 to get that first kind of booking in. That used to happen, by the way, which is why we changed it. But generally, it's really positive, and actually, the negative feedback we've got is often solved pretty quickly once we've sat down with somebody and kind of shown them how to do it, and they realise actually, it's actually quite easy. I think people are sometimes scared about change, and in particular moving from a very, very manual, old-fashioned system to a new one, they think that they're going to get kind of forced out. And we've tried to make it really clear to people that even if things are changing, they can still do things the old way if they want to, but there's also a new way if they feel comfortable doing it. So, and that data kind of shows that most of our customers have gone that way.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because the feedback is a great source of improving anything.
Exactly.
And if it is, I think it's great where you've had face-to-face feedbacks, but I think if there is a source of having some feedback option for the apps or a website, I think you may have, I don't know if it is, but I think it's a good source of working in progress and things.
Exactly, yeah. Actually, Councillor Smith, when I spoke to him at the end of the last meeting, suggested we run a survey, kind of asking people. And the only reason I haven't yet is because we've got another survey running for something else. So I don't like running two at the same time, basically. So once this one finishes, I can put together something, and would have then ran the online system for 3 months as well. So we can get some real feedback on what people think. Is it easier to book? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What would you improve? Because it is actually really easy to change as well, processes. A couple of clicks and we can change booking times, or how you go through things, or an icon on the app. We can change all of it. So yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
Okay, yeah, look forward to that survey results when they come in. I think it'll be interesting. That's kind of what I was trying to get to on my question, but it's just what people think. Okay, yep.
So if you just look over the page to the next one, it's this is some more kind of general reporting, I suppose. So the Paddling Pool opened on the 23rd of May. As you can probably all guess, it was very, very busy during last week. It was a challenge at times to keep the water looking like water. We had a couple of days where kids throwing sand into it from the sand pit in the park, and that wasn't particularly fun. We had somebody that used it to bath after they'd been in the mud. Lots of fun things like that, but it was open every day and very, very popular. We'll now keep that open all the way through the summer, pending any maintenance issues that pop up, but generally it's working okay at the moment, which is good. Family Racket Attack, as always, ran in May half term. I've put a little bit of information in there in case there was anyone here that was new, but ultimately there's not, so you all know what that is. We hosted the Sports Week. Around 1,100 school children came to visit us. It was really good actually, because the weather held all the way through and it was looking a bit touch and go, particularly for the cricket tournament. The dance festival this year actually was very, very, very popular. I think it was the most entries they've ever had. And unless I'm mistaken, every single Woodley school took part this year, which was really good. And then the very last thing I want to talk about was something I mentioned to this committee maybe 18 months ago, 12 months ago. It was that I was working on a programme for over 50s activities, and over the past kind of 6 months or so, I've been trying to look for funding opportunities and a way to tie that in to help us kind of basically get some money to launch something. I've put some information here, I'll run through it very briefly. But the timetable at the Leisure Centre is very popular, as you all are aware. The 31 sessions you run at the moment run at a pretty high capacity in terms of the percentage, and we get waiting lists in place all the time. What I would like to do is branch off and run a different timetable aimed at over 50s, which is a very popular demographic for us, and really with the aim of increasing physical activity levels, socialising, all those kind of things that go with it. And Sport England run a funding pot that actually would include projects like this. So I've been working on a proposal which is to launch 10 weekly sessions, council-led sessions, so run by our own staff, across multiple sites, so not just the Leisure Centre, this site and Coronation Hall, and potentially some outside space as well, for 6 weeks, and worked out that the cost of delivering that, including instructors, equipment and everything that goes with it, is just over £13,500 for that 6-month period. Sport England would potentially fund 100% of that. So the grant is up to £15,000. They can obviously just choose to part fund it or whatever they want. But I'm going to apply for full funding, so the full £13,500. And really what I'm asking for here is for this committee to basically support that bid, so support the idea that we would go and submit that bid. What that support from this committee does is allow me, number one, to put in the report that the council supports it, and that kind of gives it a bit more weight. And also it proves to Sport England that we have kind of governance in place. It's one of the things they like to see, that there's a formal process for everything and that we're not just kind of, a sports club or one bloke that's applying for some funding. I also, kind of touched on it a minute ago, running a survey at the moment. I've been running a survey for a couple of weeks now, aimed at over 50s, asking them about their kind of activity habits and what they would like to see. It's live now, so anyone can go and complete it. And it's not finished yet. It closes the day after Woodley Carnival because we're going to try and get some more responses at Carnival. But so far, 94 responses, and you can see there that 80% of respondents would like to be more physically active, but also that 96.5 would like to see more town council-led activity. So that question was, would you like to see more town council-led activities? Yes or no? And yes has been the overwhelming answer. I would, of course, use this data in the funding bid to try and support the application. And with this committee's blessing, put that bid in hopefully the day after Woodley Carnival, once I've pulled that data together. And then by the time we get to September, I should have an answer. So I'll be able to come back here and say we've been given it or haven't been given it, at which point, obviously, we can look at what we want to do next.
So what sort of activities would you be looking at?
So a varied timetable of 10 sessions. Some of the early ideas we've got on there and some of the things within the survey as well are pickleball, which is very popular at the moment, chair-based yoga, Tai Chi, a 50-plus specific body balance. One of the most popular responses on the survey actually has been gym-led sessions. And I think after that we put, for example, weightlifting. So that's, I think, third on the list at the moment, actually, in terms of what people want to see. That would involve, for example, a session in the gym at the leisure centre with an instructor in there, just kind of guiding people around what to do, answering quick questions. How do I do this? What should I do here? That's been very popular. And walking football is another one that we keep seeing people ask for at the moment. But it might be, for example, that the yoga's in this building and then the pickleball's at the leisure centre, and then we have a dance aerobics class at Coronation Hall. The idea being they're all daytime sessions spread across all of our facilities, and it kind of increases usage across all of our venues.
And what sort of costs would they be for the people?
So then if we get the funding,
Yeah.
I'll be able to run all of those sessions for £1 each for the 6 months. What we'll then try to do, and it'll become a part of a business plan if we do decide to continue those sessions, is they'll be free for people that are members. So if you join the gym or join the council's membership program, as I'm going to hopefully start to call it, you'll get those sessions for free. So it's almost a 6-month taster for everything. The ones that are successful, we can decide to keep and we can budget for. And we can, like we would do with any sessions, basically, make sure that they make sense for us, and the membership will support that. I believe at the bottom here somewhere, the second to last sentence, the estimated annual cost of retaining all 10 sessions is just over £19,000, and we can meet that through attracting about 75 new members based on current membership prices, which I personally think is more than achievable.
Well, I have to declare an interest here, Chairman, because
not weightlifting, no.
what Ed is, well, I'm a member of Places Leisure.
Oh, right.
And all of the things that Ed is proposing happen at Places Leisure. The app is exactly the same as the app that Ed has introduced here for Woodford Park. The activities are things like strength and balance, move and shout, particularly for Parkinson's sufferers, Boxercise, which is an excellent activity, again, for Parkinson's sufferers, circuits, so that I did that yesterday, and it's absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, you know these things, Ed, but for the benefit of my colleagues, you have weights, step aerobics, push-ups against the bar, bicep curls with weights, running round, activities, and that for all the people in the class are over 50. And I mean, my membership fee is £37.50. And if you introduce something similar to that, why would I bother going to Wokingham Leisure Centre for my boxer size class if it's available here? So there you are, you have a potential client along with my wife, who also is a member of Places Leisure. But those are the sorts of activities I'm sure that, you know, 50, I'm 70, so 50 plus people would certainly welcome.
Yeah, and I had a meeting with a chap from Public Health a couple of weeks ago who had a chat with him about this idea, and he does lots of funding bids and is involved in all kinds of things, and he likes the idea. Then I kind of, because we can link it into an already existing membership program, you know, if somebody comes along to one of these sessions, tries it out for £1 for a few weeks, just because they think, oh, I wonder if I like that, and then they see the rest of the timetable and go, actually, do you know what, I'll take out a £20 membership. I can go to that session, and the gym if I want to. I think it's a no-brainer. And when we come to the end of the funding, assuming we get it, if there's a session that isn't popular, we can get rid of it, change it, add something new, and we can do what we normally would do. But the 31 sessions that we currently run are pretty popular, and if we can increase it to 40, all of a sudden, I can't see really a downside to it, actually. The only thing would be is if they turn down the funding bid, and then I'll be coming to this committee asking whether we want to budget for this, which I would argue we should.
I mean, I run the Over 50s Forum, as you know, and we get about 40 people there every month. And I'm sure the majority of them would be very interested in something like this. Some go to the, not the aerobics, the yoga or something, or to Pilates. They go to. Yes. But I mean, you know, they'd be interested in extending. A lot of them are really fit anyway, and you'd like to keep fit. So, please let me know.
Just a quick question, just more clarification. What's the criteria for funding from the government? Is it?
So the movement fund, which is what this funding pot is called, is specific to underrepresented groups, and I think over 65s fall into that. So that doesn't mean you have to restrict what you're looking to do to that. There's obviously lots of different groups. The reason I've chosen over 65s is because I know it's popular in this area. It's something we're used to working with. We have the knowledge and the instructors all ready to step in to do it. There's other criteria, of course, like for example, you can't be a profit-making business, I think is one of the criteria for this one, but they're all very different. I've kind of run through each of them to make sure that we'll see which one's most applicable for us. This is the one that kind of marries up mostly with what we're looking to do. That you'll always get asked questions back when you put in a funding bid. It's notoriously difficult to get funding, but I did have a chat on the phone with one of the kind of Sport England, I suppose, representatives, who liked the idea and kind of suggested we go in for all of it. Originally, I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll get 50% and the council might have to match that. But she seemed to suggest that putting in a bid for all of it had a pretty good chance. So as long as I write a good bid and they're not in a bad mood when they read it, we should be okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think reading the mood of the committee is that we should support this. So
You need a vote.
yeah.
Vote.
Yeah, I think we'll stick our hands up on that one. I think we need to, if we agree, of course. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I must be honest, I've done the circuits as well many years ago. There's also skipping there as well, which I could never do. I get all tangled up. But that was the one you kind of sat out, I think. Right.
I must admit, I should benefit from the balance routine.
Right, okay. Item number 8, Parks and Buildings, page 11.
That's me, Chair. Thank you. So just to start with Woodford Park Leisure Centre, a couple of items there. Firstly, all the fire doors in the building, a new risk assessment has been carried out on those to identify all the doors that do need replacement. The tender process is now underway, and in the next few days, a contractor will be appointed to come and do that piece of work. The flat, just to note that the current tenant has given notice to vacate the flat, and we are just exploring some opportunities as to the future use of that space, which might require a change of use if we were looking to do something different at the centre and reincorporate that space into the leisure centre space. Historically, it was, for those members that don't know, it was ancillary to the leisure centre. It was the property for the landlord of the pub, as was at the time, so it was always a part of the leisure centre operation, and when the pub went, the council decided to rent it out privately. There's some issues around that, so we're just looking at options of what that might look like going forward in terms of being able to maximise some income there, and there are some difficulties around it being a private residence, which isn't ideal just due to the location and the layout of the building essentially, so we're having a look at that. Weeble Park play area, just to note that tender process is well underway. I've met with several companies who visited site and awaiting submissions for that. Those submissions will be shortlisted and used as a basis for public consultation and ultimately brought back to this committee along with the results of that consultation for decision on final design. Green flag judging, the site inspection took place on the 7th of May, which is massively positive, really good discussion. The judges walked around with members of our amenities team, the Friends of Woodford Park, and some of that discussion focused around some of the areas where they're always trying to find some areas for improvement. So there were some things around biodiversity and the recommendation for production of a biodiversity plan, which we're now looking at, and the potential for transitioning to electric grounds machinery and things like that. What I've tended to do historically and will do again, when we get the feedback through, because it was a full judging year, it's got some really interesting information on it, and that I like to report back to this committee so that members can see that. Woodford Park Lake, really high numbers of ducklings and goslings this year. The duck feeder remains really popular, although we have had increased reports of rats around that area and have been addressing that with our pest control contractor to keep on top of that. The independent Rossburgh play inspections have all happened with no significant items identified. The minor remedial works have been carried out by the team. The investigation into the water leak is ongoing. We've purchased some leak detection equipment to do that, and that work is happening, and I will update the committee as that work progresses. Tree damage, we had some very strong winds back on the 14th of May. Several trees came down. We had one over, which wasn't ours, but at the corner of St Dominic's School, which blocked the access road into the park from Western Avenue, came right across, and our team managed to clear that. We had a smaller tree over Coronation Hall, which went over and damaged some fencing to one of the properties next door, which we've since replaced. But more significantly, we did have a large limb from the horse chestnut tree down by the entrance, which came down and landed on a car with occupants in it, thankfully all unhurt. That tree was removed the following day. Sorry, the limb that had come down was removed the following day, and the remainder of that tree and the tree opposite it, which was also damaged when that limb came down, are both being removed over the 10th and 11th of this month. And just to know, I did send some information out to all members because it was a significant incident. I think there were a lot of pictures and things circulated around it. But all those trees are subject to survey and had been surveyed earlier this year with no significant defects identified. It was just one of those.
Presumably insurance covers.
Yeah, so we pass that over to insurers anyway, where there is no liability. You know, if you didn't have some surveys, for example, then you might have a liability. Other than that, it's you know, it's one of those things that can happen. So it doesn't affect our insurance.
Yeah, as long as we're not negligent, I think it's a key thing, isn't it?
Quite,
with that
yeah.
one.
Councillor
Mike.
Kennedy.
Sorry, can I go back to the flat in the leisure centre?
Yeah.
Can you tell us, Kevin, how much income we would lose as a result of switching the activity from a residential to
Yes, around £10,000.
10,000? Okay, so members ought to be aware of that.
And yeah, and I know that the finance manager did refer to that in his report as well. So we will.
Yeah.
That is obviously a consideration.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I missed the other report, sorry.
Thank you. If there's any questions?
Okay. Any other points of clarification? No. Okie dokie. Next item, which is item number 9, allotments.
I can give a summary of that. Yes, of course. Yeah, so this is the report from our allotments officer. Currently 44 prospective tenants on the list. We've got 13 vacant lots. What Kieran has done there in the report, which was asked for previously, was to give some indication of the condition of those plots with our traffic light system as to what state they're left in. And you can see that there in the report. Plot inspections are being carried out. Or have been carried out in May, and we had a number of failures there, which you can see. 47 that actually failed the inspection, and just over 100 that were classed as borderline. And the allotments officer is working through those. Those surveys being carried out by the Tenants Association volunteers, and under this new system, which the committee approved some months ago. You can see the report from the Tenants Association there in Appendix A, and just to note that all that work is in accordance with the updated policies which have been approved over the last couple of meetings. Kieran's done a large amount of work closely with the Tenants Association in bringing those things into place, and we'll see how they work through the course of this year. I don't know if there's any questions there.
David?
One question.
Yeah.
Have we sorted out the councillor, a replacement councillor for the Alumnus Association?
Yes,
As they requested?
Yes, that was done at full council.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yvonne Edwards.
Right, okay, yep. And item 10, which is probably the biggie, I think, of this one, Youth Service Subcommittee, which we spent a long time on. Who wants to kick off with this one?
Chairman of the Youth Service Subcommittee for the meeting.
Maybe me. I don't know whether you want to say something first. It's rather shallow. I should actually mention, because Yvonne Edward did say she'd be absent for this meeting, so I should have raised that, because she was at self and Mike as well. Had about a couple of meetings, and then myself and Yvonne went to youth club. So which is interesting seeing that. And when we were there were 10 children. And then another 4 joined up later in the evening. So it's kind of like backing up the figures that we had. And obviously that's only been going, I think, a couple of months or so. So it's still trying to build it. And I think they're very keen to, this is the children there to tell their friends about it and try to promote it as well. So that was quite an interesting sort of bit of my Friday evening was spent sort of doing that. I think sort of looking through this, you can see all the scoring from it as well. We spent a good deal of time going through all this, and that wasn't perhaps the easiest job to do that. I think we all kind of struggled, I think, a little bit with that for the various dividers. But if you go right to the very end, it kind of summarises it with regards to the provision. So that's the sort of provision we got. The future procurement will be £14,455. So that's kind of where we are. I was on that, so was Mike. I know Kay's been involved with this a lot in the past. So just open it up if you've got any particular questions or queries or clarification or whatever on it.
I think it's looking very good. We've all worked so hard on it. I missed the last meeting, I know, because I had family matters, but no, we've done a lot of work, and I believe that we're on the right way. We're not looking at huge amounts of money. We're looking at the youths that really are or can be a problem if we don't give them some sort of impetus now. And I think that it showed, because we've done this and we've got a variety of things for them to do. And I know Matthew has been to the schools and they've got the children that may be problematic. And I think this is the groups that we originally wanted to start off with in the first place when we started this small group. And I think we're covering them quite nicely. And I would like to thank Matt for all the work you've done, because I think this is a really good report and it shows that we are actually working really hard and we've done a lot more than has been done in the past. Not because in the past it hasn't been worked at, but because now we've got this flexibility which we didn't have in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's trying to go after the hard to reach, so you're probably not going to get 100% attendance all this.
No.
They're not going to do every one, so that's why the attendance figures can be a bit flaky, but that's what it is. That's why you're hoping if they get the word out and try to promote it, then you're going to get more people turning up. If they say it's a bit of fun, it is a bit of fun. I mean, I said at the end of it as I was leaving, have fun, because that's what it's all about. I mean, if you can't have fun at that age, it doesn't last very long. And then you've got the real world that starts, obviously when you leave school. David?
I don't want to put a negative view on this because I agree wholeheartedly behind the policy. But the youth club has been going a lot more than 2 months. It's actually started the first Friday in November last year, so we're over 6 months.
Oh, sorry, when I did say 2 months, I suddenly realised it was November. Sorry, yeah.
I went as mayor to see them on 28th of November, I think, which was their 4th week of operation. And there were 12 youngsters there at the time. So, 6 months on, I'm a little bit disappointed to see that it's only 14 people for when you went up there. Have we spoken to Berkshire Youth as to why there seems to be a lack of interest? I wouldn't mind betting it's the same 12 people that were there that when I went in November.
Well, they did appreciate you being there. I don't know if you've got any.
I know
Berkshire Youth.
Berkshire Youth's feedback was that they've had about 37 different children attending the session so far, and obviously they will vary week on week. They've also said that they've recognised that the numbers are lower than anticipated. Part of the funding that we give them, they are around the times of the youth clubs they're going to go out and do outreach work, not in terms of to go out and actually engage with children specifically to help them as such, but to go out, speak to a few children, find out what they want, to advise them that the youth club's there and start promoting it in that way. Also, up until April, we hadn't spoken, or we hadn't had a direct connection between us as the town council and the secondary schools. I went and met both the secondary schools, one just before the Easter holidays, one after. Both of them weren't really aware of the youth clubs. We made them aware. We've sent them posters. They both committed to start pushing that out as well. So based on those activities, you would hope to see an increase this term, and probably having now approved the funding for until next April, see an improvement over very much by October. I would hope you'd see more. And if there wasn't more, this committee would have to consider the value for money if there wasn't more by then.
But just taking one of the figures that you mentioned there, they say that over 37 children, different children, have been there. If there's still only 12, 14 children turning up, that means there are 23 who have come not like what they've seen and stopped. All right, it's possibly I'm being a little bit too easy, but it would suggest to me that the activities being put forward are not necessarily right for the children of this area.
I mean, the children, Berkshire Youth have always explained that they design the sessions at the centre based on what the children who are attending want to do. So they are meeting the demand of the kids that are there and engaging the kids in deciding what they want to do. I think the issue is about promotion. I think the issue is about awareness of it there. And I think there's more that we need to do, which we've started to do this term, because until from the first two terms until really after February, it was difficult to know where they were settling at that kind of initial stage. It is still very early doors. And obviously with my sickness at the beginning of the year and the end of last year, it took me until I came back in terms of the mid-March to pick up on those lower numbers and start working on how to improve it. So I think you've got to look over the next until October and see how it goes then. This committee are going to evaluate that. The subcommittee have got to evaluate the service again at that point to see about funding next year. And I think you're right that if numbers by October are still averaging 13 or 14,
That's not really.
then that probably isn't good enough, and there'll need to be firmer decisions on that. So,
I'm thinking of the kids from the leisure side, and I want it to succeed. But I'm also looking at the cost from the S&R side. As to, are we wasting our money?
I think if I can just add something in, I think what you've got, and those comments are absolutely valid and really important. I think you can take some reassurance from the fact you've got a process through the subcommittee for liaising with those groups really closely, talking to them about those things that are going on. And what you've got, because you've got flexibility in the service you're offering, you can change it. So when we get through to that next stage, if we're not happy, as Matt just said, if that's not something we think that's working right, we'll be talking to them about doing something else. And I think that's that concept of what we're doing with the money is not being it'll fail or not. We could just reinvent it and move to something else and try. It's really important.
I'm also thinking that I've been on the council now for 8 years. I've been on this committee for 8 years, and we've been battling this for Youth Club throughout the whole period that I've been on it. We've now reached the stage where we've got it up and running.
Yeah.
14 children.
I would say you've got more measured performance there and data than we've probably ever had in our provision of youth services. And as long as we're doing that, exactly the things you're saying, we're close enough to it to make changes and decisions around that. So,
I think if we find that we don't get any more children there than that, then when we can look then to see what we're going to do. I mean, the cost of the youth club is only 6,000.
it's just either just under or just over £10,000 for a full year for 36 sessions. In terms of the number of sessions per number of children, I think it comes out as the cheapest thing that's provided, because the others are so tailored and so direct to individual students. It is the most sort of cheap, cost-effective provision that is there. So even if the numbers are lower, it's comparable to some of those other services, but then it's got to be delivering something different, and that's where that full evaluation has to come in, and you have to check that you're meeting all of those strategic aims.
I really wonder whether we shouldn't have it more activity-led, whereby they come to the youth club because they know they're going to be able to become involved in new activities that they might just have an interest in, or activities that are there already. That we've really got to market it, find out what the kids want and what is going to attract them there. Do we start offering lessons or tuition? Do we start a mentoring service there, whereby they can come along and think, oh, I take one of my favourites, which is photography. Oh, we're interested in photography. Someone's going to be there tonight. We'll go along. It could also be musical instruments. It could be computer literacy. Oh, I wonder how we use AI. Is something to attract those kids along of an evening.
I think it would cost a lot more than.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's the thing. I've been on this committee for 31 years. I can tell you, we've tried all that time to do something for you.
I also know Berkshire Youth run this sort of youth club provision in multiple areas all the way around Berkshire, and they're all different and everyone is different, but they will provide a variety of different events and activities in each one to try and cater. And it probably is the fact that it takes more than 6 months to understand the kids and understand what needs to happen. It probably does take a good 18 months of running to give them a chance to build up. I think that's probably key. It's time, and if it's within 6 months and you're expecting those results to be full, it's not going to happen. But this committee aren't committed to that funding for any length of time. So
put it in perspective. I remember when I was at school, everyone hated the PE lessons. Everyone hated them until you were told you're going to be doing British Bulldog, which was really a race over everything. Everyone wanted to be there for that one. So, I mean, it's held at the leisure centre. Is there not some way we could put obstacle course outside or something of that order, whereby the kids can race each other?
Well, I think if you're going to come into that, then you've got health and safety, by goodness, and then you're going to get it difficult.
they do go outside. I mean, now the weather's well, they do
That's
go
the-
outside the back of the centre and they use activities and they have equipment and they run different things. I think maybe what's coming out of this would be helpful is if Berkshire Youth, because I know Berkshire Youth are going into schools to talk about this as well, is to promote the activities, because they teach cooking, they have cooking equipment that they take in and teach, they have a lot of sessions that they teach, it's not just things. So maybe it's about, as always, it's about them going and promoting it and letting people know that they're doing it and what activities they're doing, and then getting that feedback as to why kids might not be going if they want to be doing something else. Because Berkshire Youth, the point of this, Berkshire Youth want this to work because they know, and it's been impressed on them very strongly that if they don't get more than 14 kids, you know, their funding's going to go. It's just going to go. So everyone's pulling in the right direction to try and improve it. And I think, you know, Berkshire Youth are the experts in this. Berkshire Youth have run this across the whole county for a long period, and I think, you know, they know how to do this.
Yeah. But the other thing I noticed when I went up there was the lack of young girls. I think there were 2 out of the 12
I think.
girls there. Yeah, again, going back, kids are keen on their music. Teenage girls are keen on their dancing. Just to have a little half-an-hour session at the end of the youth club of disco music, that they can enjoy the music, the girls can do their little bit of driving about. Just something very simple like that could actually boost the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, the only, because a couple of things I'd like to add to that, you know, I think if we're going to kind of review it in October, that's nearly a year in, so that's probably quite a good time to have a look at it. I know it's not 18 months, but a year is always good. But there's one thing that didn't come out in the reports and that I found, in that the children there mostly didn't know the others there. They never met them before, so they made all these friends. So you can't quantify that, but they do make friends, which I think is good.
And some of these find it very difficult to make friends. So it's a type of person that we're actually looking at. We're not looking at the average. We're looking at the ones that are having problems, and therefore you're obviously going to get less interaction with people that can't communicate very well on things like this with others, aren't they? This is the trouble. If you want to go into it in a big way, it needs more money spent into it, and that's...
Well, I appreciate that, but before even contemplating extra money, we've got to get the numbers up quite dramatically.
Oh yes, otherwise it stops.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what definitely said, and that's what they were saying, that they are promoting it, the children themselves. So there's other ways that the council can do that as well, through schools.
But it is
And
a
hopefully,
youngsters.
it's a lot of hope. I mean, you can't say it's definitely going to work, but
No.
you just want to give it its best shot that it possibly can. But I think Dave makes some good points there. So it's maybe being responsive to demand. I mean, they are the customers, so you sort of give them what they want, really, well, within reason. But I did make the point about if you're going to have like British Bulldog, you can't do that now, can you? But I think it's slightly illegal, but it is all the health and safety, and that will come into it hugely.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking for my own insurance head on that one and risk.
I use that as an.
I know. I kind of did that.
There are things that kids are interested in today that weren't even in existence.
Well, it was the 1960s when I was sort of doing that. So
We've got to find that thing that makes them say, oh, I want to go and enjoy that. Whether it's physical activity or in front of the computer or what have you. But we need something to actually attract them.
hopefully build their social skills, I think, is important as well. And that's why they're having possibly issues in that people can't do that because they're stuck in front of screens.
And the positive on this is also you've got Berkshire Youth as experts in their fields that are being paid to do that, and they know it. They work with kids every single day. That's what their job is, and if they can't make it work, they can't make it work. But it takes the pressure off people who are not experts, or some of you who have plenty of experience. All of you have plenty of experience working with kids. But these are the people that are working with kids every day now, today, huge variety of kids across the county. It might not be successful, but they're the people that you're paying to do it. So
Well, they're the experts.
It seems I'm being negative. I am being negative, I know, but at the back of my mind is people out there who have to cut grants quite heavily.
David, can I just come in here, because I've been listening very intently, and I've been a member of this committee since its inception. I think we have to remember that young people, I hope, is one of our strategic objectives for this year. It has been for many years, to support young people. Previously, we used to pay just around the corner, and as far as I was aware, we never really got any empirical evidence as to what sort of level of service they were actually providing. We've now got 3 organisations. We've interrogated them, either face-to-face or on a Zoom call. We've got evidence here that suggests that all 3 activities are well supported. I take your point, David. We need to publicise it, but let's give it a go. We're being asked to fund for the rest of this financial year. I hope that we will be able to make a recommendation to S&R that we can do that, and let's move on. Let's move it on. Otherwise, if we're saying that young people aren't our focus of attention, then we can cut £40,000 from our budget next year. End of.
I'm not saying that for 1 second, Mike. They are the focus of our attention, but we look after residents' money, and
Well,
we've
come
got
on,
to
I mean, we're
listen
going
to
round and
the,
round in a
to the
circle here.
residents.
Either we're supporting young people or we're not. Let's get that straight. We either are, we're doing it, or we're not doing it.
I think.
We've agreed the budget. Let's move it on.
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, my job here is to chair, and I'm trying to give everybody to have a fair say. I don't want to cut people off because that causes issues. But I can understand what David is. It's trying to get value for money, really, effectively, and provide activities that people want.
I mean, I've made no comment about the other 3 activities because they haven't been going long enough. It's just that I feel the youth club has been going sufficient length of time to know.
Well, there's a few mitigating circumstances, as Matt was saying, so I think we've got to take that into account. So it's taken a few months out. So we're probably, although we're 6 months in, we're probably only 3 months in.
But we actually, when you think about it, David, we're only concentrating on a very small amount of youngsters with this programme and concentrating on the sort of real lower problem ones. Whereas with Jack, we concentrate, when you did that, he concentrated on the whole of Woodley and did a lot of work with a lot of youngsters. With this scheme, we're only concentrating on very few because all these ones are only coping with very few children. The youth club has always been a moot point as to whether the youth club would actually work or not, because you've got to get youngsters interested in actually going to a youth club. And so therefore, by actually talking to them now and saying, you know, if this doesn't work, then we will be withdrawing to that, maybe putting it into the other activities. You know, we're only concentrating on a very small group of youngsters, not the entire youth of Woodley.
Okay.
Can I just make a point for clarity, Chair? if that's
Sure,
okay?
yeah. I was going to bring that in a moment.
The recommendation here is for to note the assessment and to present that to Strategy Resources. The funding has already been allocated, so there's no funding decision.
Okay, I mean, I'll get to that in a moment, but Daniel.
I mean, just a comment on this. My son goes to one of the youth clubs. I have a teenage son, and they have about 30 people, and there's no one silver bullet to get these kids liking in one group. And he goes every Friday, so it's one of the groups. And what I see in this report is targeting with most of them. I think David said, going forward, if there is anything, a different interest, and there is a number of people who'd like to do that, I think we have certainly provision to do that or request them, but also the Berkshire youth are well experienced in this area, so we can certainly recommend that. But I think so far with the report, I think the numbers low, but I think there is something in place in Woodley, and I think the significant amount of the people are actually Woodley residents. So I think it's a good positive way, but if we need changes, I think we can certainly go forward with the changes that we require.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly do. As the town clerk was saying, there is budget allocated for this. So I think we've kind of like discussed it, debated it quite fully.
That's the decision that needs to be considered.
Thank you very much.
I can see.
Well, I've actually got it here as well.
Yeah,
so
that's
what I was going to. That's why I got. It's on page 2, item 10, and then subsection I. There is a recommendation here that the Leisure Services Committee note the evaluation of the council's youth service provision delivered to date as provided at Appendix A, which is at the back, and that the Leisure Services Committee approve that evaluation summary for each be presented to the Strategy and Resources Committee for noting, which is next week, the 9th. So I propose that we put that recommendation through to S&R, and I know Dave is also on that meeting, I think as well. You're on S&R, aren't you, David? Yeah. So you're sort of there, and obviously it's open to other members if they want to go along to that as well, but let people know. I propose that, so can I have a show of hands?
5-4, thank you.
Thank you. Right, item 11, page 26, Friends of Woodford Park update. Just right at the way back. By a report by David Provins. I think that's just really to note. So
It is to note. There are just a couple of items I just wanted to mention there, particularly in relation to the Garden of Remembrance there. For a bit of context, the arrangements there historically weren't working terribly well. There were some practical difficulties around the work of the Friends group and the amenities team, which sometimes created some confusion about who was doing what and things of that kind. For that reason, and this was some years ago, we considered it better to have separate responsibilities in that area. The amenities team have done an amazing job in there. It looks better than it's ever looked since it was installed, over 20 years ago. It really is a joy and a really great part of the park. a couple of other things in that report to do with membership and thing. Our comms manager has been working with the chairman of the Friends group to assist them in getting some posts out in terms of trying to attract new members. And I recognise that the Friends group doesn't operate in the same way as it does in some other places. And actually, the kind of flip side of that is that a lot of Friends groups would work under the direct instruction of the grounds team, and we've provided an opportunity for them to work more autonomously, which has worked pretty well over the time. So it was just to address those couple of things. There's something else in there regarding meetings. Our meetings manager has been off sick, and there have been some meetings missed. There's only 2 meetings, in fact, that haven't occurred because they're bi-monthly. And with the team coming back from spring, so there's only 2 meetings, and I have been in regular contact with the chairman through that period answering questions.
Thank you.
I think we should thank David for this report anyway, thank him for all his work. But obviously he does need more volunteers. It's really difficult. Everyone wants volunteers. I think we just have to maybe help him by asking for volunteers in the Herald or things like that.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good report. Thank you for that. Future agenda items. Anyone? Always send those in as well. So anybody thinks of anything else? And publicity website. Okay. Yeah, there is just one thing I know we don't usually say anything on this, and I know you're going to do this anyhow, but as it hopefully could be a good news, the green flag judging when that's available, I'm sure that'll be on that.
It will indeed, yes.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that. Okay, thank you.